joined now by Jacob Padilla of Hurrdat Sports. What's going on, JP? What's up, Jacob?
Good morning.
Young Jacob, how are we doing?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Good. Who got the regional vote? That's all I want to know.
I gave it to Lexi. So did Lincoln Arneal for most outstanding player. You mean?
Yep.
Yeah. We both gave it to Lexi. I think a few of the plays that Harper made in the last set there, I guess, pushed it in her favor for the ultimate decision. Yeah, it was. I mean, she was very deserving. She had a great weekend as well.
Jacob, better weekend for Nebraska getting back to a Final Four. Obviously, Creighton fell up short, but where do you think this tournament run can take Creighton's program if we're looking at big picture?
Interesting one. I think it was huge just to reach that stage, to make it onto make it to the chance to play for the Final Four there. I mean, you're going up against Sunday Night Football, but that's still a big spot. And you went toe to toe with the number one seed in their building where they never lose. Now it's about what Coach Booth can continue to do to kind of sell, like, hey, this is a place where you can do this regularly, because this was a pretty special class of seniors, both the ones that have been here for a long time and the ones that she went out and added from the portal this offseason. So there's a lot to replace it. They've got a good core coming back, but like you don't replace a Kendra Waite or a Nora Sis easily. And so now it's about going out and finding the next version of those players, to kind of take Creighton into this next phase. Because what we've seen so far is just every year, every kind of group of players they brought in have elevated the level of this program. And now it's about, all right, what can they do to keep that trend going? That third set was an absolute killer. Letting that one get away, I think that was a match right there, because you can't go 5 with Penn State on their home court and hope to come out with that one. So I think that's going to hurt. It was a pretty emotional press conference, but Creighton has nothing to hang their collective heads about, because that was a phenomenal effort from that program.
Jacob, is that the biggest difference as a program between Nebraska and Creighton right now, is that when a Kendra Waite and a Nora Sis graduate or leave, there is a question of, okay, who do you get to replace these two? Whereas with Nebraska, it's just, hey, there's always more talent in the pipeline.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a program on the rise and a blue blood of the sport, and one that is gotten to the point where it is, I mean, it's great effort for the coaches, but it's almost self-sustaining, where you just almost expect that they're going to be able to do this year in and year out from recruiting perspective. Creighton's obviously elevated its recruiting level, but Booth has also done a fantastic job of identifying players that they needed and ones that would be great fits and provide exactly what the program needs to move forward. So I think what they've done will this year and over the last handful of years will help them continue to do that, continuing to land those high-level players. I don't know that Creighton's ever going to recruit at the level that Nebraska does, but few do. We're talking about 2-3 programs in the country that does that regularly. And Creighton's proved that it doesn't need to. Booth has done a pretty good job of identifying and selecting and developing players. So, I think it certainly is the question out there, is like, all right, who is going, like, what does the setting look like moving forward? At least with the Pins, you've got Ava Martin coming back. You've got Reinhardt in the middle, coming back for an extra year, she said. And you've got some players they've been developing. You got Kaya Johnson coming back after a fantastic redshirt freshman year. So they've certainly got a good core of players that I think that they're excited about. But again, you don't replace like the Kendra Waite and Nora Sis are two of the best players to ever come through that program. You can't take that for granted, but also I think they've earned the benefit of the doubt.
Young Jacob, our very own Jacob Padilla, Hurrdat's own. I guess that's ours. We'll share. JP, for years, we'll kind of joke and we'll land the plane and you'll say, kids, remember to make your free throws and, make your layups. Of all the numbers that you crunch in volleyball, how much of the equivalent would come down to passing for you in volleyball?
Yeah, that's where everything starts. Like both offense and defense stem from passing. Because obviously if you can't handle the serves coming your way, that impacts the points the other team's going to put up. And it puts you in a bad spot to where you're not able to take a good swing. You either have to go out of system or sometimes you just have to put up a free ball. And we saw for stretches there, Wisconsin.
It's incredible.
And Cook talked about like early on, Wisconsin was serving tougher than Nebraska was, and got up to a bit of a slow start. I know Olivia Mauk had an uncharacteristic bad stretch at the beginning there, but as the game went on, Nebraska settled in and Wisconsin started to break down. And I mean, we saw some chaotic stretches there where Wisconsin just could not handle the ball. And that 7-0 run where Andy Jackson had 3 kills and a block during it, and like 2 of those were on overpasses where Wisconsin just completely mishandled and couldn't sent the ball somewhere where they didn't want to, and Nebraska took advantage of it. So there's a reason that Cook obviously has a lot of his go-to cliches for his press conferences, but serve and pass, that is the number one. That's what he preaches in practice. That's what he preaches in the press conference, and that's what it really comes down to, is being able to handle that. So the difference is being able to do what you want to do versus being forcing the other team to just kind of survive. Nebraska hasn't always been the most aggressive serving team where they're going to rack up a ton of aces, but the combination of them serving tough when they need to, and while they may not give aces or get aces out of it, they're still making the other team work. And we know how good Nebraska is in that back row. They've got elite passers all over the place back there, to the point where someone does struggle for a little bit. You're like, whoa, what's happening here? You're not used to that. So that's kind of how Cook has built this team, with the amount of littles, as they call them, that he plays back there, with Harper Murray and how she's developed as a passing option back there, where we saw that in the championship last year, where she had a really rough day and everybody kind of fell apart around her.
Well, she was singled out. Just a difference a year makes.
Yeah.
Going from being targeted to, wow, I hope she doesn't get any touches.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, even last year, you saw it. Like, she was really picked on early.
Yeah.
And she got much better as the season went on. And then it was just a bad day in the championship, and Texas had an unbelievable serving day. And so that was kind of the last we saw of her. And then obviously everything she went through in the off season. And, but this year just continued to go to work. I mean, she's going to get a lot of balls served her way just by the nature of who she's playing with back there. And she's continued to handle that really well and continued to elevate her game. And she's stepped into Nebraska's top offensive role this year, with Merritt Beeson kind of taking a step back and having some rough stretches here. Harper's been the one that has carried the team. And while that last match wasn't necessarily her best offensive after a blazing start to the postseason, she did other things. And like, she had 4 blocks in that last set there to help them close out the match. And again, continues to pass well, continues to play defense in the back row. So she's come a long, long way, and Nebraska's in a good place because of it.
Jacob, I want to hit some basketball with you here real quick. We got about 90 seconds left. I'll start with Creighton. Disappointed that Creighton wasn't able to match the juice against Alabama that they had against Kansas, or pleasantly surprised they were able to get back into it after the slow start?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I think it just kind of showed that, like Mac talked about, like I've kind of been highlighting, the margin for error is just so slim. Yeah. And they weren't going to be able to survive Jemiah Neal kind of playing like he did. Like Mac pointed to, like that's the consistency issue. Ooh. That's what he's striving for and where he needs to get to. He's been pretty up and down and great in that last game. Wasn't great in this one in the role he needed to play. And they just didn't quite have enough juice. Obviously, Jackson McAndrew picked it up late from a shooting perspective, but yeah, the ability to compete when you're not playing well and to hang around and to get back into it, that will serve them well. But in terms of being able to like reach a high level play, it's just it's kind of hard to expect that they're just going to do that they're going to be able to go toe to toe with the best teams they face with the current version of the team, unless a couple of these guys start to get a little bit more consistent in the roles that they're going to have to play moving forward.
That's our guy, Jacob Padilla, Hurrdat Sports, NAB Preps, Hale Varsity. He's all over the place. JP, we appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Jacob.
Talk to you later.